possible to share that?
Pardon me?
Could you post it somewhere?
Oh, yeah.
They copy it?
For sure. I will post that. Let's do this. And bam. All right. So, I love that stuff. Because if that doesn't resonate with you, if you haven't experienced failure, if you haven't, when you hear him say those things and it hits you, in your soul, then you're a human being and you're in the right place, right? But maybe if you're someone that sits there, like I used to at the beginning, and go like this and go, like this is weird and uncomfortable, that's okay too, right? That is completely fine. Because that's where I was as well. And then life kept knocking me down, and I remember being in a room going like this and watching somebody totally into it, and then they're where they want to be in life, and I wasn't. And I said, maybe I should do what they're doing. As weird and as uncomfortable as it seems and looks. So that's really what this is all about. I'm going to share my story and then get right into training. So my background's in restaurants over 20 years. I was introduced to this business by an old roommate of mine who used to be in this business. I was in another company with him about 20 years ago where I met Jeff Olson. He called me up and he said, I'm going to send you a bottle of night cream in the mail. And I said, what did you say to me? And he said, Jeff Olson's the CEO of this new breakthrough product. I said, send me the night cream. Who here is brand new? Brand new?
Oh, like 2.
Brand new? How many days?
Maybe 30.
3 days?
No, 30.
Oh, 30 days? It's still fantastic. Sandra, awesome. So I'm going to pick on you again, Sandra.
Oh,
welcome. Right on. So Jeff Olson's someone I knew because I was in another company. It's now called Legal Shield, but he had taken that company. We had joined 3 months after I had joined that business with my old roommate and his dad. They brought this guy on, Jeff Olson, and we went from $50 million in 28 years to $400 million in 4 years. So I said, send me the night cream. I tried it. I liked it. I had results. It took away the redness and the crow's feet in my face. But I was not, I say this, I'm going to be real and regional, but in my presentation, I'm not going to go into personal stuff, right? I kind of give it a general ray. I say, I wasn't, I wanted out of the restaurant industry, but I didn't think face cream was going to be the way out. And so I didn't do anything for 2 years. That's what I share. Here's the deep, real story, because unless I get vulnerable with you guys, I'm just another person up here pontificating. All right? So the real story is I was trying to get sober in my life. Okay? I was trying to let things go out of my life, and it was a hard road. And I thought, wow, this is awesome, because right when he sent me that bottle and he called me, all those feelings of being part of this stuff came back. I'm like, wow, totally, I can do this. I'm excited, but I really wasn't ready. And I had to go through a lot more pain personally to be able to be ready. And 2 years went by, and every time that I would think about this, I knew that I wasn't really ready to do it. I wanted out of the restaurant industry, and I got recruited into my first corporate job, and I got promoted twice in 7 months and laid off. That's when I called up my old roommate, and I said, hey, how's it going for you? I'm watching you on Facebook. I know you got a car. How's it really going? He really told me the money he was making. And I said, holy cow. And so I tried to go out there and sell this thing. Because in the old company, Legal Shield, I had to wear a tie and a suit, and I had to sell you on why you needed legal insurance. Literally sell you. I needed to convince you on why, people don't use attorneys, but if you didn't have to pay the money, wouldn't you? And don't wealthy people? I had 6 attorneys and a judge in my family. I knew how important it was to have, it was this whole selling thing. So I took all that, and when you come into my restaurant, I need to know the wine and where it comes from and the ingredients of the food and all that stuff. So I thought that's what I needed to do here. And I failed miserably. Is anyone in sales? Awesome. So I had to learn how to use my people skills, not my sales skills. Right? And so I called him up. I said, this isn't working for me. You must have gotten in early. The company was like 2.5 years old. And he said, what are you doing? I told him, he said, you need to get to training. You need to learn how we do it because it's not like our other company. You need to share this. And you need to let the product do the work. So I sent my mom a bottle. And if you you guys want, I should have been able to pull it up here. But I could show it to you. You want to see my mom's picture? I'll show it to you. And 28 days later, my mom was so I called her up. I said, I need to send you a bottle to try for this night cream. She said, awesome, I'll try it. I said, I need to take your picture. She said, Timmy, you are not taking my picture. And I went home 28 days. I said, just to show my friend who she knew. I said, just to show him it doesn't work. And she said, all right, just you and me. You better swear to God you're not showing this. I said, I'm not. So I took it. 28 days later, we're standing at the top of the stairs. She comes out of the bathroom. I put her picture side by side, and she looked at it. She went like this. She had tears in her eyes and said, you know, your father's the only one that's seen me without makeup in almost 3 years. You have no idea what it means for a woman to look her best the older she gets, because my insides don't match what I see in the mirror. And she said, can you make money with that picture? I said, probably. She said, you can put it on the Facebook. She called it the Facebook. So I did, and that's when my business started to take off. And I was like, oh, I guess this is what they're talking about. I was so used to sitting down with you, selling it to you, you buy it. This was me sharing, another exposure, follow-up, come see this. I was the tour guide of your experience through the exposure process. Most importantly, trying the product. And that's how my business started to take off, and I got out of the restaurant industry again. I got another corporate job. And has anyone ever been laid off? 2 people. Does anyone know someone who's been laid off? Right on. So, nobody else? Okay. And so, I got a job at an app company. It was like Uber for hospitality people. And I went in, and I was there for a year, and I was building this on my spare time, and I started to get some money. And then 3 weeks before Christmas, they laid over 40 of us off. And I remember this kid, Mike Ponticelli. They called him Punch. And Mike Ponticelli would make fun of me all the time. He'd do one of those pyramid things. He'd say it all the time. He'd get in an elevator. He'd say, I heard you showed Sarah your face cream. He goes, does she know it's a scam yet? He'd say it all the time. Guess who got laid off with me? Guess who I saw crying? Mike Ponticelli. And I didn't have to cry. I knew that I had something to fall back on. Right? I had a plan B. So that's my story here today. You know, Lexus earner, team in multiple countries, going to the Bahamas, having a lot of fun, but most importantly, the journey, who I've become along the way, has enhanced who I am authentically. And I needed to find that person first before I could plug into this. So I'm going to share a little bit about that. I shared a little bit about that earlier, but I needed to start to become the best version of me in order to participate in becoming the best version of me here. Because you can put a piece of in a box and put a bow on it, and it's still a piece of, right? And there's a lot of times where I was coming in and I was faking it until I make it, but that really didn't work here because people see right through that because it's not this. Authentic. Authenticity is what this is all about. And so it's a people business. I am not building a sales force. I'm building a team of people. We're all about caring, sharing, making people better. It's not a tagline. It is the real deal. There's no other company that makes this not only their culture. It is not, how many times I've been in corporate America twice, but even in restaurants, right? There's only one restaurant over 20 years I worked at where when I went in for orientation and I talked to them and the manager and the owner, they said, this is who we are, this is our culture, these are our values, and they even stuck them up on the wall somewhere. And then you get involved, and it's not the case at all. Well, that is exactly who we are, character. Become better by living the 10 core values. If you don't know what the values are, this is what it's what we are all about. And giving back, it's phenomenal. On social media, people seeing us do Live Happy Wall and Big Brothers Big Sisters has attracted people into our business, right? Because there's people out there who don't care about the money. They don't care about skincare. They want to be part of a company that gives back, right? New brand partner training. There's some of this stuff is just how to do the business, how to get started, right? All you got to do is go to neyorg.com/start. You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. No matter what I say up here is not going to make you do it or not do it. It's just a matter of where you are in your business. And I'm going to share that, and that's why I put those questions up there. We're going to go through a fun exercise a little later. So neorder.com/start. Do this with your new people. The beautiful part is this is part of the system that Jeff put together so that if I don't have an upline, which I've had 2 people right above me say bye-bye, one after the other, I had to plug into the system. I had to lean on this. And so people fail, but systems don't. Know your why. So this is a really tough thing for me. Dreaming was hard. It was easy to say, I want more, and get excited. Do you want more in life? Yeah! And then I walk out of the room and I don't even know how the hell to start that. I don't know where to begin. I don't even know what that looks like. I needed someone to hold my hand and show me what they did and say, now you do it as bad as it is. I'm going to show you my first dream board. Yeah, my fiance didn't think that it was very funny. I put this on the fridge. She goes, oh, you're going to put it there. Right? Because, I started getting, the journey in my life where I needed to let go of some things so that I could then be open to receiving things and be vulnerable and authentic. This is my first dream board. It's the best shot I could do. But I did it. Who here has done a dream board? Awesome. Who here has not done one? And just be honest and be real. Awesome. Thank you for being honest about that. Now, sometimes dream boards work for people all the time. And sometimes if you don't do them, you can still have success. But every single person I've ever run into has said, I've done a vision board. I've done a dream board. I've done multiple dream boards. And I had never done one. And yet I was wondering why I wasn't having success. Right? I thought it was, as long as I'm excited. If I'm just excited, then I'm going to have success. No, there's certain things that I had to do, books I had to read to learn about why does a dream board work. I thought the screen was going on. Why does a dream board work? Because the subconscious mind is more powerful than the conscious mind. Has anyone ever read Think and Grow Rich?
Yes.
So they talk about the book in Think and Grow Rich. So Marconi, I love when they give examples like this. Marconi is the gentleman who said there is something called the ether. And the ether is actually, it's waves where we can actually communicate. He said there's radio, right? Here's a radio, here's a radio. And I can make your voice go from here to here. And he wanted to create the radio. He said there's ether that, sound waves can go through. And they were like, you're insane. His friends had him committed. The guy that created the radio, Marconi. His friends, and Jeff Olson talks about this, your closest friends, family, and neighbors, the ones that you would want to give you the most support are going to be your worst enemies sometimes. His friends had him committed. And today, we're like, of course, radio. Right? It's a radio. Of course it works. But it didn't start out that way. Just like your business. Of course these products work. But you're going to have your friends commit you and steal your dreams. And so a dream board, a vision board, Think and Grow Rich, it's the 500 most powerful people in the world. He interviewed them all, came back and said there's 13 things they had in common. Auto-suggestion and looking at their dreams every day was one of the 13 things. The 500 most powerful people in the world, 13 things they had in common, this is one of them. I would highly suggest doing this if you haven't done so already. This is my second one. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit more about philosophy, right? As you notice, there's a water theme. I want, every time you record a victory, your brain changes the goalposts of what success looks like. I like this because this is in one of our success magazines. Jim Rohn, Darren Hardy, Robert Kiyosaki, Stephen Covey, Zig Ziglar, John C. Maxwell. So those are all people that I'm feeding my brain with, right? And so I put this on the fridge, and my fiance was like, oh, that's cute too. So why don't you put it in the bedroom? I'm like, all right. So, make a long story short, my fiance and I met each other this way. So we're from the same hometown in Central Illinois. We both moved to Chicago, never had met. We're on friends on Facebook, a lot of similar friends. I posted real science, real results with a before and after photo. She said, I want to know more about that real science. I said, let's meet for coffee. I didn't know anything about the real science. And I met for coffee, and I sat down with her. We started talking. She's like, so I've seen a lot of this stuff. I've even tried a couple products. And when they say there's real science, there's actually not real science. My background is neuroscience. And I went, and right then, my throat went in my stomach because I'm hoping to God that we have real science. I don't know what that meant. So I said, here's a bottle. Why don't you try it? The coffee shop closed. We decided, hey, let's get to know each other a little bit more. We're from the same hometown. We walked 2 blocks down to the beach. We talked about life for 2 hours. At that bench, it's where we got engaged, right? This is our, thank you. This says choose love, and it's the coordinates of where we met, and we had our first kiss and our first date where we got engaged. All the same place. It's the park bench at the beach. Yeah. And so, not on the same day. Here's the product. That's nice. You want to get there? Cool. Fantastic. And so we started.
You don't conceive your children on that.
Yeah. This stuff works fast. So she and I started, we became friends. She started using the product. She looked at the science. At the time, we had not published the science yet, but then she was watching me do this business and start dating. I'm going to these regionals, right? At the this is like, I'm starting to get pretty healthy in my life. She's a yoga instructor. She doesn't drink, smoke. She's vegetarian. She's that type of woman. And yet I'm going to these regionals, and I'm coming home to her negativity. A yoga instructor, like, right? That which we cannot control and all that crap. Right? And expectations and all that stuff. And I love it. But anyway. So she sees me going to these regionals. She says stuff like, "Isn't it the same information every time? Like, you only have 3 products." It's because I'm working all week. She works all week. And one Saturday a month, right? We're not living together yet, so it's like the time we spend together, it's important. And so she's getting jealous of the time I'm taking away. She doesn't see why I'm doing this. She doesn't understand that I am going through a process to build who I am so that I can track in my business. All she's used to, and most people are, I do A, I get B. I go to school, I get a degree, I get a job and get paid with benefits. It's just give and take. This business is give, take a little bit. Give, right? So she sees that, and she's like, are you sure this is working? I mean, I love the product, and it's done stuff for my face, but you should be getting paid more. It's been 6 months. Right? And so I'm like, look, why don't you just come to a regional? So she comes to a regional, she sits in the crowd, and the whole time, has anyone ever brought up a spouse to a regional or an event? And all you're doing is obsessing about how they're perceiving everything, and you're trying to defend it all, and you're going, well, okay, so this person, and you're like, just like, shut up and let me experience this, right? I'm not allowing her to have her own experience at the beginning, but I start to. We leave, and she's not talking. We get in the car. Guess what comes out of her mouth? I had no idea I stopped dreaming. And I went, oh, yeah, dreaming. Right? And so now I'm like, a cocker spaniel ready to pee the floor, like inside, like, oh, God, she's excited. And so we start talking about this stuff, and she's like, okay, we're going to do a dream board together. And it's not going to look like that 3rd grade project you have. This is our dream board that we did together. I know, right? And so, that's her and I. Hopefully, you got that. But we went to the store, went to Michael's. We made it a thing together. So if you have kids, if you have a spouse, just ask them to do this with you. Say, I know you're not into it or whatever. Just say, help me out. I want to do this, and I think it'd be fun. Have your kids get involved. Go to the store. We got a frame. She did all this, so now I know how to do it. But she got a frame picture. It had the plastic cover. She took the plastic out. Then we went to the wall or the wrapping paper section. We got wood-looking wrapping paper, and so we cut that out. We put it as the background, and then we just went to magazines, and we went to wherever. So on this, we have sayings. I can't read it right here, but within you is the divine capacity to manifest and attract all you desire. Wayne Dyer. And Jim Carrey is one of my fiance's favorite people. That speech that he gave, that commencement speech, have you guys ever heard that?
Yeah.
It is unbelievable. Write that down, Jim Carrey commencement speech. Go home and watch it. It'll blow your mind. And in this, it says the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. The effect we have on others is the most valuable currency there is. Your acts of kindness are iridescent wings of divine love, which linger and continue to uplift others long after you're sharing. Live happy, big brothers, big sisters, the ripple. This is my life right here in the middle. My soulmate is my dog. Love, love, love with my fiance. This was 3 years ago we did this. I put a ring on there. We want a baby. I'm 43. She's 42. We're in the process of trying to make that happen. We are now engaged. We are now closer to having a baby than we ever have been. We're 4 months from being debt-free. We earned the electric car bonus. At the time, Patrick and Shallon Murphy they had come into our lives, and Jennifer Elston, and just were such unbelievable examples of what a couple looks like doing the business, helping their team, and being unconditional and focused and not losing the way no matter what noise is happening. They didn't care. He's like, just put your blinders on. And so this is her actually at our corporate event going, we're going to Disney World! And freaking out. And so, we put them on there. I put this on here 3 years ago. At any moment, the decision you make can change the course of your life forever. That's Tony Robbins. Now, I wasn't a huge Tony Robbins fan, right? Talks, we're all on this, right? Natalie couldn't stand him. And how about it? Three and a half years ago, we made this. And as fate would have it, because of all the things that happened in the business, now my direct sponsor is a former Tony Robbins coach. And he placed me, because I asked him to I said, please place me, move me, wherever you got to move me, I don't care where it is, under somebody you think that I can grow from. And he placed me under Rachel Verdell in Australia. At first blush, Natalie was like, Australia? They came in after us. They should be. I'm like, I asked for this. This is going to be a good thing. And I found out that Rachel is a former Tony Robbins coach. So they reached out to a Tony Robbins coach in Chicago, and they said, hey, reach out to this kid. Have him invite people, because he's part of this networking group. Have him invite these business people. It would be a great thing for image, but who he is, personal development. And so I had like 25 people come, and this Tony Robbins coach came, and then I got a free ticket to Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. And it was on my dream board, and I had no idea that was going to happen. And now I recruited 2 people that I met at UPW onto my team. And so Tony Robbins, driving a Lexus now. So dream boards, this is what we want our house to look like. I grew up Lake the Ozarks, 13 years. It's a family vacation before it turned into a condo city. It was all family cabins in Osage Beach and like wood and cobblestone, right? And so I love lake life. I'm going to the Bahamas for the first time to snorkel. I've never done that. And so dream boards absolutely work. They absolutely work. This right here is in my office now. It's not on a refrigerator. We live in an 800 square foot, 1-bedroom apartment in Chicago, in Lincoln Park. And this right here is, if you walked into, so I moved in with her, and if you walk into her place, it's really cute. Having something like this on our wall is a big deal. Because it doesn't go with the rest of the place. But because she's now aboard, this is probably the most important thing on our wall. Once she came to the regional, we did a dream board together. this is how crazy this stuff is. She said, okay, I'll go to the big event with you. I said, great. She came to San Jose. Yeah, no,
I
don't
took
be.
my husband for the first time to that.
Awesome.
And he was like, in.
Yes.
He was so in.
That's it. We were talking about this this morning, and you asked me what was the most important turning point or thing for you in the business. I said San Jose, because that hype video after that conference, I don't know how many times I shared that with people. I'm like, this is what my business is like, right? It's like, it was incredible. But we went to San Jose. We sat there, and here comes this guy. And he starts presenting neuroscience data. And my fiance sat up in her chair, and I sat back, and I was like, what's going on? And she said, I thought you guys were skincare. I go, I don't know what's happening. Anyone feel like that in San Jose? I was like, skin brain. And then she went on to tell me right there in the seat, she's like, she's taking pictures. She's like, this is incredible. And I'm like, I'm glad you're excited. And she's like, you don't understand. This is real science. She's like, you don't know how legit this is from Signal. She started right there because she has access to all these like back avenues in the internet. Like scientists go to certain places to see the legitimacy of like published papers. And so she's doing it. She's like, holy cow. And the whole time she's like, beyond excited, I'm going, what's happening here? And she said, you don't understand. The skin and the brain are the two most synergistic organs in your body. She's like, this is brilliant. And I'm like, yes, brilliant. Yeah, and so, there's this huge white party afterwards, and then she goes in the back, and there's this, like, they have, where you go to the bathroom, the potties, porta potties, there you go. It was behind the stage, and nobody's back there. I'm waiting for her to come out of the bathroom. And guess who walks out of the porta potty? Is Jeff Stock. And there's nobody for 50 yards. And here comes Natalie walking out of the porta potty. And I'm like, oh. And so I said, Dr. Stock, I want to introduce you to my fiance. Her background's in neuroscience. And for 15 minutes, they went, la, 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 la. You see me go like this. So I had somebody take a picture. I'm like I knew what they were talking about. They were talking about all this science and stuff, and her hair was on fire. She's like, this is incredible. We're going to kill this business. I'm like, yes, we are. She went from, you're going to go to another regional? Isn't it the same information? To that. So, how did that happen? It happened because I was consistent, and no matter what, I was doing my business and she saw it. No matter what she said, and I was never like, I didn't get defensive. I just said, look, it's something I'm doing. Just like you love yoga, I can remember one of my buddies asked her what the ROI on yoga was. She's like, ROI? He's like, yeah, return on investment. What is that? She's like, you do it and you'll find out. Well, guess what? That guy now is a yoga instructor. He's a finance guy. And so I told her, I said, hey, you remember Eli? I'm like, that's what it's like for me. Once you see what I do, you'll know what I do. And that's what she decided to do. So as long as you stay consistent for your business, right philosophies, right expectations. So Jeff Olson always talks about your philosophies, create your attitude. Attitude creates your actions. Action creates results. Enough results create your lifestyle. Right? So it all comes back to this right here. Right? It's not a matter of just getting excited here or there. It's literally about creating a foundation of philosophies, and this is literally what your business is going to be like. Is anyone can relate to this? Yeah. So life as an entrepreneur. This is awesome. This is hard. This sucks. I suck. It's okay. This rocks. I am awesome. And until you go through this process, you're really not in this business. Because once you go through this process, then you feel this like, I've gone through the fire, right? I've lost people. People have said no. People have signed up and they've dropped out. I recruited somebody, they said they're going to be a superstar, and then they went MIA, right? I had some of my best friends, fraternity brothers, who signed up and they went gangbusters. And then something in the business happened and they crumbled. And, it shouldn't be like this. The firm's on back order and blah, blah, right? And I'm like, and I called up my upline, 2 Tony Robbins coaches, and they said, ask him what book he's reading. And I'm like, I never even thought about that. And don't ask him, like, what book you read, right? But I said, hey, you know what? I understand. I know how you feel. I felt the same way when I saw this happening. What I found was that, the books that I'm reading and the regionals I go to, I found that the successful people all go through this, and that business is like this. And so, what I would suggest is maybe reading a book in reference to getting your mindset right as a business owner. Because you own a business, and like any business, you're going to have ups and downs, and it's going to feel like the world's caving in, but you have to keep going. And the only way to do that is by changing the way you think of and perceive things. And the only way to do that is by reading books, listening to tapes, and coming to the regional. And he's never been to any of them. And he's coming to the Bahamas still. And he's super pissed that he's got to move rooms on the last day. Go to the Bahamas!
No, we just stay in 2 hotels.
Exactly! That's exactly right. The firm's on back order. You're damn right. That's how popular this product is. Right? Not like, my people are going to be upset. No! That's a great thing. How many companies do you know run out of product? It's an incredible problem to have.
From a sales side, it's massive.
It's it's the greatest sales thing you could ever imagine, right? Yep. I'm going to put you on my waiting list.
Yep.
Why? Because we're sold out for the 3rd time.
Yep.
Holy crap.
People were ordering 2 or 3 at a time.
Right. So are these pictures real? Well, you tell me. Selling out 3 times. The Slide Edge, this is I think it's the number 1 resource. I don't think it's just another book to read. I think it's the resource of our company. It is the blood flow. It's the heartbeat of our CEO. He wrote the book. It is everything. None of the other books I've ever read work unless I have this as the foundation of how I perceive all the other books and all the how-tos. This is it, right? You have to know the winning how-to actions, and you have to possess the winning attitudes, but what generates all that and keeps it in place is your philosophy. Your philosophy is what you know, how you hold it, and how it affects what you do. So, what I know is everything that I've learned up to this point in my life and all my experiences and how I hold that. Right? There's a lot of people that have, you ever heard, stuck in life. Why are they stuck? Because they can read all the books they want. They can read how to lose weight, they can read how to be a better husband, how to be a better wife, all that stuff. But if how they perceive that information is wrong, then they don't know how to apply it. Right? Because if it's just information, Jeff always talks about this. If it was just about, well, just tell me how to do it. Just tell me how to do it, and I'll do it. Tell me how to lose weight. Just tell me how to lose weight. Tell me how to eat right. Tell me how to do this. And you can go on the internet, type it in, and that's how. I don't have to. You just find it. So if the information was all you needed, then why aren't we everywhere we want to be? Because it's not the information. It's how we process the information. Right? And so I, as a human being, had to go through my own transformation outside of business, but in my life. Because my philosophies were what I knew, how I held that, how it made me feel, and how that made me feel, whether I knew it or not, subconsciously or consciously, drove my actions. And I kept in this insanity of going back and forth, building it up and tearing it down. Building it up and tearing it down in my life. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't get where I wanted to go in my life. And when I finally got around people who were once where I was, all of the people in Neora who are now having success were once where you were. And I said, I no longer want to be there. And they said, we're no longer there. This is how we're living. And I could see the evidence of that. They said, you no longer have to live in the insanity of the way you're living, of building it up and tearing it down and wondering why you can't get your life where you want it to be. Because if you do exactly what we do, and in my fellowship they say half measures avail us nothing. Not half measures avail us half. They avail us nothing. So that means that I need to do it all. And when I sold out in that part of my life, I started getting the fruits, and my perception of life changed. And when my perception of what I knew and how I held that changed, my attitude changed. When my attitude changed, my action towards you and my family and my friends revolutionized. And enough of that over time gave me a life that only when I look back, I understand what happened. What I want to do is I want to understand now, and I want it now, and then I'll do the actions. But what this is saying is you need to change the way you think and change your philosophies. When that happens, you change your attitude, you change your actions, you change your results, you change your lifestyle. And then when you look back on your business, then people will ask you, as Jeff always says, how do you get people started? Just tell me how to do it. And then I'll go, looking back on my experience, there isn't one thing. Just like in my life, in that area of my life outside the business, when I ask somebody, how did you get to where you are, just tell me, that guy usually says, it's not just one thing. And it's not exactly everything cookie cutter. But there are certain things that we do, and there's 12 of them. And here, there's 10 things that we do. And it's the outline, right? And if you skim out on some of them, you won't get the result you're totally looking for. And so it all comes back to, am I doing what I should be doing to get to where I want to go? So, philosophies. Has anyone ever listened to these? These changed my life. So as I started to work out and change my health and everything, I would work out and I'd go to the sauna and I'd listen to this. How to do the hows. It's like the Success CDs, except this is candid. So you know the Success CDs now, it's like they're talking to you and it's like in a studio and it's a microphone. This is Jeff at a conference, sitting on a stool, talking to the crowd. It is awesome. It is everything you'd ever want to know about how he talks about this. So I could stand up here all day, but I'm just going to say, go listen to this right here. Right? And then, 10 core commitments. These are the how-tos. I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time here, but complete brand partner training, neora.com/start. Everyone got that? Perfect. Commit to 2 a day. An exposure, that's what it means. An exposure is having someone from going from not knowing about Neora to knowing about Neora. It could suck or it can be great, but over time they'll get better. That's just the fact. Who here has said just horrible things and screwed it up and walked away going, my God, I wish I had that over again. Yeah. Great. So we give you permission to do the same thing if you're brand new. And does it still sting when I say the wrong thing? I go, I should have done that differently, or I talked too much, or I said the wrong thing, or whatever. It's just going to happen. You're going to screw this thing up. But you're going to screw it up less as time goes on. Share the products. The beautiful part about our new sampling system is that we can now share the products without having to get a whole bottle. Right? Sampling. Who here is the sampling system? You guys use it?
Yes.
Use it all the time. It's phenomenal. Attend weekly market parties and real results parties. Attend weekly training. Attend monthly regionals. Give yourself a hand. You're here. Attend all major corporate events. That is the show. That is the end-all, be-all. It is what takes... It's phenomenal. Let me do this. What's your favorite band?
Oh. You don't want to know that.
Sure I do. Pantera?
No, actually, it's Rob Zombie.
Rob, see, I was close. Rob Zombie. Have you seen him live?
No.
Okay. Who's your favorite live band you've seen live?
I haven't ever really went to concerts.
Never been to a concert?
No.
Who here's been to a concert and there's a band that you absolutely love? I'm going to pick on you because you seem excited about it.
Okay. There's several, but my favorite is Cursive, and they're out of Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay. Have you seen them live?
I've seen them a lot of times.
What
all
a-
over the country.
What about, how is it when you see them live?
Amazing.
Amazing?
It was weird when he got older, and now he has dentures. And everybody in the crowd keeps getting younger, and I keep
Of course. But let's say I've never been to a concert of theirs, right? Can you explain to me in any sort of good way how that concert really is, or do I just have to go?
You have to go.
Right.
Right.
But you know what it's like, right?
Yeah.
It's an experience. Right?
Yeah.
It's an experience.
Right.
And when you see other people who have gone, and I haven't,
Right.
and you guys look at each other, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I know, and you go crazy. It's just like that for the corporate event. Who here has not been to a corporate event? 2 people? Okay. So when you see other people, everyone in this room, who's been to one, they look at each other and they start talking, and they get this weird energy about them. Right? That's like going to a concert of your favorite band, and you can't really explain, but then let's say I've been to Dave Matthews concerts, and if someone hasn't been, I'm like, I can't even, you gotta go. The vibe, I can't, you try to explain it, it's like, right? And the person who's never been is like, okay, great, right? But then they talk to somebody who's gone also, and it's like this whole world, and all of a sudden you can see it in the energy, and you can feel it. That's what the corporate event is exactly like. Commit to personal development, it's foundation of everything. Whoops. Find a workout partner and be here a year from now. So workout partner is absolutely huge. In my life, I have somebody who is my workout partner. And there's absolutely no way I would get to where I am in my life without that workout partner. In the gym, in life, in anything, it's always good to have somebody to help you along, right? Be here a year from now and do the rest of the night. This right here is something I started because Jeff Olson, I don't know how many times I hear him say it over and over again. And finally at the Spotlight in Indianapolis, I heard him say it for some reason. It's not the first time, but I went, I'm going to do that. He said, when I first got started, we had a Monday mastermind and a weekly presentation and dial for dollars on Sunday. And he said, that's how I built every single one of my businesses. And for some reason, I'd heard that every single time. And until then, I was like, oh, I should do a Monday mastermind. And he talked about, this is where we get together. We talk about what's working, what's not. We kind of celebrate the wins. We make sure everyone knows about the promotions going forward for that week. It's basically like a huddle, right? We get together, we huddle up, and say, here's the play, here's what's going on. You guys got to watch out for number 22 in the back because that's going on. Firm's on back order right now. Make sure to look out for the email that just came out. Live Happy's coming out with this right here. Let's go through our numbers. How many exposures you get, follow-ups, 3 ways. Are you going to the corporate event? Boom. Excellent. Boom, 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 down. All right. Did anyone get a brand partner this week? Yes, I did. Tell us a little bit about that experience. Walk us through that process. So this is what happened, blah, blah. Great. Does anyone have a question for Sarah about that process? Yeah, Sarah, blah, blah. And great. Awesome. Does anyone want to give a shout-out to someone else? Yeah, I want to give a shout-out to Michio. Michio's doing Facebook Lives, and it's awesome. She just got a brand partner last week. Fantastic. All right, Michio! Yay, fantastic. All right, everybody. This Wednesday, we're going to have our weekly Zoom, because this is our weekly presentation, right? And so we say, great, we're going to have our weekly Zoom. And this is anyone's invited to this one. So the one before, the mastermind, is our team. You can jump on if you want to and listen in. But this is our weekly Zoom. Anyone's invited. We got a lot of Chicago people jump on this. I have guest speakers sometimes. If I do it, we'll do testimonials at the end. Sometimes I don't because I'm just not prepared. But we do this every single week without fail. Why? Because Jeff did it every single week without fail. He did a weekly mastermind and he did a weekly presentation. But we don't have to do a hotel room, which is awesome. And they did. So this is what we do. Setting goals. Now, before I go into that, what I want to do is you guys can't read this, can you?
No.
No? Okay. So, who here is less than a year into the business? 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. 4 people. So I'm going to do this with you. If you could write down on a piece of paper, and you can all do this if you want to, right? Because it's going to be different. How about everyone do it? Because I'll ask if you want to share, you can share. This is what Jeff Olson, in the How to Do the Hows, Jeff Olson said at every one of his regionals, he would do this. And I haven't seen anyone do it since I was in legal shit. So, your name and your background. Background for me is restaurants. It's not, it's just background. Very simple. How were you exposed or approached? So I was exposed from my old roommate who called me up and said he was sending me night cream in the mail. Right? How many times were you approached before you made a decision to do this? For me, it was once. Right? You already 25, right? Yeah.
Way more than that.
Way more. What was it that was stopping you from making the decision if you didn't do it the first time? This might be a little hard. Could be fear, money, spouse, thought you were too busy, not interested, don't like network marketing. What was it that made you make the decision? I got laid off. I was in a better place in my life. I divorced that spouse. I was able to pay for the investment. Once you made the decision, how long did it take for you to really get started? 2 years. I signed up, and 2 years later, I started doing the business. So you signed up, and maybe it was immediate. Maybe you had been, and what I mean by that is people always talk about this. There's 2 times that you join the business. When you sign up and when you start doing it. Right? And so, from when you signed up, when did you start doing the business? When, in your heart, when you knew, I'm now doing the business.
The first time or the second time?
The second time, right? Or there could be multiple times. You can write that down. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just your experience. Once you got started, how many times did you want to quit? Right? It could be, you can round it out to 5, 10, 20. For me, it was about 3. I seriously contemplated about maybe this isn't for me. And it had to do with not me so much as outside things that I didn't know if it was going to look the way I wanted it to look. So everyone's experience is different. And then, what did you do to get trained once you knew you were going to do this business? Like, what did you start doing? Was it I started attending every regional? I got on the conference calls as well. I went to the corporate event. I did another game plan with my upline. Whatever that is. So now, this all goes back to Jeff saying that he would do this at a 2-day conference and then he started doing it at regionals. But he would take like 2 to 3 hours and he would get like 10 people up on the stage and have them go through this. So what I'm going to do is just maybe 3 or 4 people. And we're going to go through it quick because he would really dig deep. But we're just going to do surface level so you guys can see this. So, we'll start with you if you want to share your name and...
Okay. My name is Sandra
Here we go.
Richard.
Okay.
I'm a travel nurse. That's my background. I've been nursing for several years. I met my brand partner through our travel nursing website several years ago. What's the next one? How many times? Oh, many. 3 years I've been talking to her about this.
So it took you 3 years of exposures.
Yes. Why? Was fear of failure. Getting into something that I'm not going to complete was my fear. Why I started results of the product. I've been watching it for 3 years. I've been seeing and hearing people talk about it. So I like where it was going. What was the next one? What made you decide once you made a decision?
How long did it take for you to really get started?
I'm still starting. I'm like only 30 days in, so I'm still new is the next answer.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing, I'm here. Started the videos, brand partner, and I'm starting the book. So.
Awesome. So you're reading the slide actually. Yeah, but what nursing website did you go to?
Travel nursing.
Okay, so you need to write that down so I can go to the travel nursing website and I can find out nurses just like you. See how ridiculous that sounds? So Jeff talked about how he's afraid that when people say, I exploded because I did this one thing. Like I went to this trade show, and I got like 20 customers and 4 brand partners. And then he talks about it. It's so funny. He's like, and that every time I heard it, I would want to cringe because then people they want that quick fix, and they go, "You tell me exactly where, what tent to buy, how to put the sign up, which way up, down, sideways. Tell me where to stand. Tell me exactly what I need to say, and I'll be at every damn trade show you can imagine." Because they think that they're going to get faster like that, right? So thank you for sharing that nursing, 3 years, fear of failure, and once you got started, you are now reading Slide Edge, Regional, and watching the videos.
We drove a long way to come here, too. That
How
was
long
a
did you
big
drive?
deal.
Well, I'm from Florida, but I didn't drive just to come here from Florida. I'm working over in Rolla, which is about an hour.
Holy
Thank you.
cow!
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. That is fantastic. And then
And
this
she's
young lady.
mine.
She's yeah.
She's mine.
She's mine.
I got one.
Well, we know that.
We don't say that. We don't say I got one. You should put your hand in her mouth behind. And then this young lady right here.
My name's Autumn.
Hello, Autumn.
I've mainly been in customer service.
She's daughter.
I don't know. I don't remember the third one.
So, customer service. How were you exposed to this?
This one right here.
How did she expose you? What did she show you? Video? Was it a...
So a little bit of our background. Our husbands actually worked together. They
Awesome.
started working together, TV and sewer lines and stuff like that. And her and her husband had just come over to my house one day, and she had talked to me about the business and what it was about and everything. And I was really hesitant because I had just gotten out of another direct sales, so I was really hesitant
So
about
you had
doing
fear
it.
of doing
Yeah.
the other one.
I had fear. It was money. It was my stuff million saying, "Oh, this is just a pyramid scheme. You're not doing it." And just 30 days, a little bit over 30 days ago, I'm like, you know what? Screw you. I'm doing this.
So, you had been approached for 3 years?
3 years.
3 years. And yours was about the same, right? 3 years and 3 years. And then you were fearful of doing another pyramid scheme or that this wasn't going to work out or you were projecting
It's
your...
just that other person in your ear.
Oh, yeah?
saying, you're not going to do it, or,
Yeah.
just trying to get you to almost fail. Or
Because
doubting
you're already
you.
doubting a little bit about yourself, and when someone's reinforcing that, you're like,
Exactly.
yeah, no good,
Yeah.
right?
This definitely, I say that.
And then once you made the decision, how long did it take for you to say, I'm doing this? Right away?
It was a couple weeks, wasn't it? Yeah.
About 3 weeks. So you
Yeah,
got
just
signed
trying
up?
to get the money up to do it.
Yeah. So you got signed up,
Yeah.
and then what did you start training? Like, what was the thing that got you plugged in? Is this the first one? Did you watch video?
Yeah. Videos.
So the neura.com/start, the videos in the back office. Awesome. Go
And
ahead.
I actually, so the first thing that you did was you shared before and afters, and you actually got 2 customers before she ever came into the business.
That's what I'm talking about. Look at that. That's phenomenal. And so you're here to regional, right? Because now you have proof that this will work. I'm here to tell you that belief will go, right? That excitement from getting 2 customers, because you're going to talk to people who are going to say no, and your no is just not
a lot
that.
of it right now is like they're hesitant because as everybody knows, it works in post pictures when they first started. The outcome was it didn't work. It really didn't work. So everybody's hesitant because of that, and they're like, "Oh, well, we want to see your pictures." So I'm like, "All right, you got it." Like,
That's
all
awesome.
my friends' pictures, but I'm waiting on my stuff to get in, and I'll show you.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Who else wants to share in the back? Anybody? Does anyone want to share?
I'll share.
Yes.
My name is Lindsay. I'm from Wichita. My background is peer mentoring for women and adolescent girls with substance abuse issues. I was exposed by my sponsor, Shelly. How many times was I approached before I started?
How were you exposed?
I was exposed. I work for a recovery coffee shop, and Shelly does her RRPs at the coffee but, so that was stopping me. What was it that made me make the decision, Shelley? It's persistence, overbearing persistence.
So it's her consistent exposures.
Consistence. There you go. Yeah,
Right.
consistence. And her belief in me through my own broken heart. Which, so my broken heart ended because I started Neora.
Yes.
And I had no idea what it was going to do for my personal growth. I meth addict, alcoholic, recovering for 5 years. I've been in the business for 2 years, and I have grown exponentially in the past 2 years with Neora, way more than I had in my own recovery because of the personal growth. Once I started, when did I actually start working right away? Well, about 3 weeks. I had to learn. There was a lot to learn at first, so I had to take it all in, and then I started slowly sharing. Once I got started, how many times did I want to quit? A lot. Before I even got started, I wanted to quit. And then several times in between then, but now I won't quit. This is my retirement plan.
That's awesome. What stopped you? What combated the I want to quit?
The personal development.
So are you reading a book?
Yes, I'm always reading a book.
Right.
I'm reading Fight Ed right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So had you not been reading that, you would have probably been like,
Surely, yeah. And also the YouTube videos. I watch YouTube videos learning about the law of attraction, or I started learning about the law of attraction 2 years ago, which is kind of the same concept as the dream board. What you get out, what you get back. But so I started learning about that. So I was listening to videos, Abraham Hicks, every single day.
yeah.
And so that combination made me more confident. Plus the PhD, you know. So I thought that
Throw a
helped a
plug in
lot
there.
too, yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Anybody else want to share one more? Michio? So, name and background.
My name is Michio Doherty. My background in pharmaceutical sciences.
Pharmaceutical sciences, and you say you get ding dong in your head. How were you exposed? How was it? A video? Was it?
Ninth grade. My husband introduced
product.
me to Laura, and this Miriam, one of the exploding trans.
So it's the product that
Product,
you did.
yes.
How many times were you approached before you made the decision? One time. What was it that was stopping you from making a decision? Anything? Nothing either. What was it that made you make the decision?
Product.
The product. And once you made the decision, how long did it take for you to really get started? 3 years to really get started. Once you got started, how many times did you want to quit?
A lot. Well, let it quit at that time, for years.
Yeah.
But didn't start it. But then when we did the game plan and nothing coming up, just doing this every day and being encouraged me and everybody encouraged me. But I felt every morning I told her I was going to quit. I don't want to do this. I said to my baby, and I said, I don't think this is I don't want to.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many times. Every morning I felt.
Thank you for sharing that. Did anyone feel? Can you feel that? Has anyone ever felt like that? And not vulnerable enough to share it like that? Thanks for being vulnerable, because that's really what this is all about. This is we have incredible products, and we have an incredible leader. We have an incredible compensation plan that's unmatched. But if you don't get your head game right, if you don't plug in, if you don't plug into the personal development and ask, that's the one thing when we were in